In the heart of the African savanna, a lioness named Zara roamed gracefully under the golden sun. She was strong and agile, her tawny fur shimmering as she moved through the tall grasses. Zara was known among her pride for her cleverness and bravery. She had a fierce spirit that inspired awe in her fellow lions. Each day she patrolled her territory, always on the lookout for prey or threats. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more. And tell me where you are watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. One quiet morning, after a long night of hunting, Zara felt a rumble in her stomach. It was time to find food. As she stepped out from the shade of an acacia tree, she noticed dark clouds gathering in the sky above. A storm was coming, and with it would come heavy rains that could change everything in her home. As the first drops began to fall, Zara suddenly heard the roar of rushing water. The nearby river, which usually flowed gently, had transformed into a raging torrent. Unfazed by the turmoil before her, she knew she had to cross to reach greener pastures where antelopes grazed peacefully. Hunger drove Zara onward. However, as she approached the riverbank, reality hit her hard. The once familiar banks were washed away, leaving only swirling currents filled with sticks and debris. The roar of the water echoed around her like thunder. Her heart raced as she considered how to navigate this hazardous expanse. Other animals stood frozen at their own riverbanks, watching with wide eyes, afraid to cross but desperate to escape the rising waters. Zara took a cautious step back and studied the river's flow. It was wild and unpredictable. Crossing would be no simple task. In her mind flashed images of her pride, her playful cubs waiting back at home for their mother's return. Determined and focused, she knew she couldn't let them down. Just then, lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating her sleek body against the darkening background. The rain fell harder now. Each drop seemed to push her closer to action or retreat. With a deep breath and an unwavering spirit, Zara edged closer again to assess what lay ahead. Across the riverbank stood a group of strangers, 5 adventurers on a journey through Africa. They were immersed in their exploration when they spotted Zara's plight from afar. At first glance, they were taken aback by this magnificent creature standing at the edge of danger. "Look!" shouted Mia, one of the adventurers, a wildlife photographer with an eye for capturing extraordinary moments. "That lioness looks desperate." Her companions gathered around, drawn by curiosity and concern, as they noticed Zara pacing nervously along the shore with uncertainty painted across her face. "It's dangerous for her," said Ethan, another member of their group who loved animals and studied wildlife behavior. "We should help." The others nodded in agreement, but were also filled with apprehension about approaching such a powerful animal. "What if she attacks?" whispered Liam nervously. "But what if we do nothing?" Mia responded firmly. "She needs us." The group stood locked in discussion as raindrops danced on their heads and puddles formed beneath their feet. They contemplated their options. A wild animal was not easily tamed after all. But deep down inside them stirred a collective empathy that urged them toward action. "We can find a way," Jenna suggested thoughtfully as she looked at every one of them, while also glancing back at Zara, struggling against nature's fury. After weighing their options carefully, they decided that helping this lioness was worth any potential risk involved. Working together as friends would make all the difference. After all, strength comes in numbers. As lightning lit up again across the sky, they quickly began brainstorming ideas about how they might assist this brave animal without putting themselves in danger. Their minds raced with possibilities. Could they build something to help bridge the gap between safety and peril? Little did they know that just beyond that treacherous river awaited hope for both Zara and them. A chance encounter that would weave together two worlds under one shared goal: survival against nature's tempestuous forces. With resolve setting in among them like an unbreakable bond forged by purpose, and one lioness leading this unexpected charge, the stage was set for an incredible journey ahead. Each adventurer felt excitement mingling with apprehension as they prepared themselves mentally for both challenges ahead and moments that could change everything forever. Starting with finding a way to help Zara cross that turbulent river. As Zara gazed across the flooded river, she felt a surge of determination mixed with anxiety. The water churned violently, swollen from the rains that had fallen heavily the night before. What once was a narrow stream now roared like a lion, and its dark waters swirled with debris. Snapped branches, tufts of grass, and bits of foliage carried along like lost memories. Zara instinctively took a step back, her heart pounding in rhythm with the rushing current. The terrain around her was unrecognizable. She had patrolled this area countless times, but now it resembled a treacherous maze rather than a familiar path. The strong currents made her rethink the urgency of her hunger. Nothing could be worth risking her life. Nearby, other animals stood frozen in fear. A herd of zebras skirted nervously at the riverbank, their wide eyes reflecting hesitation. A mother elephant trumpeted softly as she comforted her young calf, both hesitant to enter the water. Even birds perched silently on branches overhead, sensing the fear in the air as chaos unfolded below. Zara watched them all, feeling an odd sense of camaraderie with these fellow creatures facing danger together. They were united by their uncertainty and worry. Anxiety rippled through the animal kingdom just as it surged through her own body. But where some chose to flee, Zara had only one thing on her mind. She needed to cross this turbulent river. As she took a deep breath and focused her thoughts, Zara thought about her cubs waiting at home. Thoughts of their playful antics warmed her heart, motivating her to summon every ounce of strength within her. She knew they depended on her. Her brave spirit would not allow her to give up now. Meanwhile, from their position on higher ground, the group of 5 adventurers watched with a mixture of awe and concern. Staring at Zara's predicament, they realized just how dangerous the situation was for her. "Look at that current," murmured Ethan, his brow furrowed as he observed the furious water crashing downstream. "There's no way she can swim through that." Mia adjusted her camera lens, capturing the moment as if recording history for future generations. Yet, in that instant, all she could think about was saving this magnificent creature from peril. "We have to think quick," she urged the group. "She needs us." Jenna knelt down to touch the wet soil beneath their feet while glancing over at Zara again. "If we can create something stable for her to cross, maybe even a bridge, we might make it work," she suggested excitedly. "We need to move fast before the water rises even more," Liam added nervously. He was consumed by thoughts of how unpredictable nature could be, and felt anxious about their plan. The group gathered closer together, brainstorming ways to aid Zara in crossing without putting themselves in danger as well. Together, they realized they needed strong materials for creating stability over the raging waters. A demanding task under pressure. As if timed perfectly with their discussions, another bolt of lightning illuminated the sky overhead, a fierce reminder of Mother Nature's unpredictable temperament. "We'll need logs," Ethan asserted decisively, after searching their surroundings with urgency in his eyes. "Let's look for fallen branches or anything we can use," shouted Mia and spearheaded their search nearby. Zara continued observing them, while remaining hyper-aware of everything around her. The swift current belied its dangers beneath an alluring surface that sparkled invitingly under flashes of sunlight, battling storm clouds overhead. Gradually moving along the shore, she surveyed possible points of entry into the water, while anticipating each wave crashing against resistant rocks. Every instinct told her to proceed cautiously, yet quickly. Hesitation after witnessing how unpredictable that river had become could prove fatal. A few yards away from where Zara stood, fearless against destiny, lay twisted, fallen trees and chunks of mud. The perfect elements these human helpers sought. Perhaps fate had intertwined their paths for good, reason after all. With every ounce of determination flowing through both species' hearts, the Lioness, yearning for survival alongside 5 adventurers willing to brave unknown challenges. Hope flickered brightly, despite uncertainties looming heavy around them. At that moment, only one thing became clear. They needed each other more than ever before. Each wave crashing along muddy banks whispered stories awaiting new beginnings. Old territories surrendered to nature's wrath, while creative alliances sparked courage within those ready to act. United by purpose alone, their hearts thrumming in sync, both Zara and her newfound allies prepared themselves for what lay ahead. An unforgettable journey fueled by compassion while navigating one unyielding river together. Thus began their collaborative quest, filled with excitement and unexpected challenges awaiting just beyond rushing waters. As the storm clouds loomed ominously overhead, the 5 adventurers felt a sense of urgency building among them. This was not just another moment of wonder in their journey. It had become a critical junction that demanded action. They could no longer stand idly by as they watched Zara, the Lioness, wrestle with her fate at the flooded riverbank below. Mia, the wildlife photographer, raised her camera once more to capture the raw beauty of the scene. But this time, her focus wasn't on taking pictures for posterity. It was on a mission. "We can't wait any longer," she insisted, glancing back at her companions with determination flashing in her eyes. "If we really want to help her, we need to act now." Ethan nodded vigorously in agreement. He peered back at the churning waters and then remarked, "Every minute we waste allows the river to rise higher. Let's get moving." As they descended cautiously towards the riverbank, each step echoed with purpose as they prepared to face not just nature's obstacles, but also their emotional fears. Was it foolishness or bravery that brought them closer? Whatever it was, confidence surged within them as if they were all meant to unite at this singular moment. Upon reaching softer ground near where Zara stood hesitantly weighing her options amidst swirling debris, Jenna crouched low and began searching for potential materials to construct a safe passage. Her heart raced with excitement. Horsepower was neither needed nor wanted here. Creativity would have to take center stage. "We need something sturdy," she said aloud. "Look for logs or anything that can bear weight." A loud crash resonated behind them. Thunder echoing from far-off hills made its presence abundantly clear, while matching their adrenaline-fueled hearts racing together in rhythm. The group fanned out briefly to gather supplies as Mia shouted out reminders. "The water's unstable. Stay close." But even in the chaos of rising tension, they found small moments of laughter. A fallen log suddenly resembled a bridge when viewed through a playful lens. Meanwhile, Zara continued observing them closely. Each movement she made unveiled not only confidence, but cautious curiosity about these strange beings who came into view against familiar chaos surrounding her day-to-day life. She hadn't been fortunate enough to witness humans up close before this moment. She could only guess what was going through their minds. With resolve set resolutely upon their shared goal, to aid a fellow creature in distress, the strangers soon returned, carrying an assortment of materials. Broken branches and segments of wood mingled among muddy patches underfoot, where blades of grass dared push through defiant stems. "We have enough," Ethan declared enthusiastically while holding several hefty branches aloft like trophies earned from battle, a small victory over nature's upheaval resonating beneath their feet. Zara shifted slightly closer while keeping an eye on every one of them, even now honing unspoken bonds forged through shared intentions alone. In this peculiar way, mutual regard bloomed between animals and humans alike. Perhaps even adversaries could share understanding when standing united against formidable forces threatening survival together. Intrigued yet cautious, after observing every deliberate action taken around her fragile form, resting against wet earth beneath heavy skies above, Zara's instincts kicked into high gear. Her gaze reflected intelligence and trust built slowly amid uncertainty, revealing potential roots like tightly woven vines growing outward across vast landscapes beyond mere survival instincts alone. By combining what they had gathered, both from nature and each other, the group began constructing a makeshift bridge across part of the roaring river, using logs as sturdy supports, complemented by smaller branches, woven together with strong vines discovered during earlier forays into nearby shaded walls filled with colorful flowers, thriving defiantly wherever possible. Together, they deconstructed layers obscuring visions ahead, before establishing paths toward greater safety. With hope igniting brighter roots shining underneath gridlocked clouds, shadowing sunlit ambitions once deemed impossible earlier. Every team member's heart swelled alongside hastily crafted pillars standing steady now, despite chaotic torrents struggling furiously around them. All bearing witness mid-journey, loaded instead with camaraderie, ever growing akin to wildflowers blooming amid harsh terrain consumed previously. "Now we test it," Mia offered nervously, despite excitement alighting around brightly radiating warmth illuminating all faces present. "It will hold," Ethan replied confidently, while positioning himself beside Zara, ever vigilant nearby, rivaling dangers lying beneath powerful currents, rippling upward, constantly beckoning forth opportunities, eagerly awaited, beyond turbulent boundaries, poised along horizons, leading fates colliding forward, proving resilience stands unwavering, still thriving together, steadfast against those relentless waves, surging into unpredictable futures ahead, yet somehow linked eternally through trust, blossoming between friends. The mighty Lioness, Zara, leading them onward across uncharted terrains, full maintaining spirit, sustaining hope, fueled by compassion, intertwined, solidifying bonds, breaking barriers, forming heroic alliances, unbound by species diverging long ago. The storm continued to rage overhead, the rain pouring down in heavy sheets. But the group of adventurers stood resolute at the riverbank. With hearts beating in unison, they shared glances filled with determination and an unspoken understanding that this was not just about a lioness, but about courage, compassion, and unity. Mia looked around at her friends and realized that each of them had their own fears. Ethan was worried about safety. Jenna felt anxious about making a mistake, and Liam feared the unknown of what lay ahead. But instead of letting fear consume them, they chose to embrace it as a catalyst for action. The thought of leaving Zara to face the raging waters alone ignited a fire within them all. "We can't turn our backs on her," Mia said firmly, her voice cutting through the sound of the storm. "If we don't help now, we might regret it forever." Her words resonated deeply with each adventurer. They were far from home, wandering through the vast beauty of the savannah. Yet in this moment, they were drawn together by something greater than themselves. Zara's struggle became their struggle. Her need became their mission. Jenna took a step forward, her eyes locked onto Zara's. "She trusts us," she said softly, feeling a connection to the lioness that transcended species. "We need to show her that we're here for her." As Zara stood watching the humans with cautious curiosity, she felt a strange sense of hope blossoming within her. Although she had always been independent, facing challenges on her own, something about these strangers stirred a feeling of camaraderie inside her. A belief that perhaps assistance could come from unexpected allies. The group began brainstorming ideas on how to create a sturdy passage across the turbulent waters. "Logs! We need logs!" Ethan exclaimed, his mind racing. "If we can find enough strong ones, we can build something safe for her to cross." "Right," Mia agreed emphatically as she scanned the area. "Let's split up and search for any fallen branches or logs we can use. Stay close and keep an eye on Zara." Jenna reminded them as they all moved out in different directions. As they fanned out across the riverbank, their hands swiftly began gathering anything that resembled suitable materials. Thick branches, stout logs partially submerged in mud, and even vines that could be used to tie everything together. Each piece they collected felt like another step closer to bringing Zara to safety. Zara observed their movements carefully. She could see their determination mirrored in one another's faces. As each log was lifted and carried toward the riverbank, she felt her own resolve strengthen. They were taking risks for her. Perhaps it was time for her to take a leap of faith in return. While working diligently, laughter occasionally erupted among the adventurers as they struggled with heavier pieces or tripped over roots hidden beneath thick grass. Their light-hearted moments cut through the tension in the air and added fuel to their fire of purpose. They were no longer just individual strangers. They were becoming a team united by a common goal. After several minutes of frantic gathering and laughter-filled moments, they regrouped near the riverbank with an impressive collection of materials piled high before them. "This should be enough," Ethan said breathlessly as he wiped sweat from his brow while surveying their efforts with pride. Jenna nodded enthusiastically. "Now let's get building. We'll start by laying out the biggest logs as support beams." Underneath darkening skies filled with thunderous roars above them, teamwork kicked into high gear as they began arranging logs side by side along the edge of the water, where Zara stood poised yet watchful, her fierce amber eyes never leaving their motions. "I believe we can do this," Mia called out over the din of rain pelting against trees nearby. "If we all work together, there's nothing we can't achieve." With every log positioned securely into place and fastened tightly using sturdy vines found earlier amongst surrounding foliage, hope blossomed among those present. It wrapped around them like an invisible force, urging them forward towards success, finally standing back to admire their handiwork, a makeshift bridge extending just far enough towards calmer waters. A wave of excitement surged through each person present. Adrenaline coursed through their veins like electricity. "Now we have to test its strength," Jenna announced nervously as she stepped onto one end cautiously while holding her breath tightly within. "It will hold," Ethan reassured her confidently as he joined next to her after positioning an adjacent beam down firmly beneath a supportive weight, beneath steady footing, ensuring no slips occurred unexpectedly. Zara watched intently as these brave souls ventured forth across what nature had deemed impossible moments before. A union between predator and protector forming right before her eyes. Could it be true? Would she dare trust? Taking a deep breath, perhaps it was destiny guiding all these creatures together. Zara finally took a bold step toward uncharted territory. leading directly across turbulent waters separating them from perilous dreams, wading ahead beyond rough shores, beckoning forth opportunities long sought, yet elusive, too often previously lost, among dangerous depths, beyond wild rivers flowing fiercely. In that pivotal moment, forged between courage reverberating past boundaries redefined, it became clear every daunting challenge faced would grow smaller alongside heartfelt compassion, woven through extraordinary acts taken despite uncertainties looming heavy, still demanding attention. Reminding everyone bound closely through shared experiences, ultimately bridged differences, once thought irreparable, fostering friendships destined thrive resilient amidst fierce storms gathered overhead. Their journey together only just beginning. With the heavy rain starting to ease, the group of adventurers gathered around their makeshift bridge, their hearts racing with both excitement and anxiety. They knew that they had prepared as much as they could, and now it was time to execute their plan. The reality of what lay ahead began to set in, and they exchanged nervous glances. Ethan took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart. "Okay, everyone, let's go over the plan one last time," he suggested, wanting to ensure they were all on the same page. The others nodded in agreement, forming a tight circle. "First," he began, "Mia and I will stand at one end of the bridge. We'll clap our hands to get Zara's attention and signal her that it's safe to cross. Jenna and Liam will be at the other end," Mia added, her voice steady despite the swirling emotions inside her. "You guys will cheer her on and be there in case she needs encouragement or support." Jenna smiled at Liam, who was fidgeting with his hands. "We've got this," she said reassuringly. "Just remember, a calm presence makes all the difference." Liam nodded, though he still felt a flutter of nerves in his stomach. "What if she doesn't want to cross?" he asked quietly. "Then we'll have to trust that she will," Ethan replied firmly. "She's smart. She'll see that we're trying to help her." The group fell silent for a moment, each person lost in their thoughts about Zara and what this rescue meant. They had come together in this unexpected situation, forming a bond that transcended their differences. Now they were united by a single purpose: to help this lioness find safety. "Let's get into position," Jenna suggested after a brief pause. They all moved quickly, but deliberately toward their designated spots, each step filled with anticipation. The rain had lessened to a steady drizzle, but the air was thick with tension. As they took their places at either end of the bridge, Zara remained at the water's edge, watching intently. Her instincts were alert. She could feel the energy from the humans as they prepared to help her. With every passing moment, she fought against her own doubts about crossing the swollen river. Mia raised her hands above her head and clapped loudly to catch Zara's attention. "Zara, it's okay. Come on," she called out enthusiastically. Her voice rang out clear and bright against the backdrop of nature's chaos. In a response, Zara stepped closer to the riverbank. She hesitated momentarily as she assessed the raging waters before looking toward Mia and Ethan. Both stood ready with open arms, their expressions filled with encouragement. "Come on, girl, you can do it," Ethan shouted encouragingly, his heart pounding as he maintained eye contact with the lioness. The powerful roar of the river seemed to echo around them, but Zara felt drawn to their voices. These creatures who had taken it upon themselves to guide her through this perilous challenge. She took a deep breath and stepped onto the bridge cautiously. "Here we go," Jenna whispered nervously as she watched Zara take those first steps onto their makeshift crossing. Her heart raced with hope. The bridge creaked slightly under Zara's weight, but it held firm thanks to their careful construction. With each step, Zara felt more confident as she walked slowly across the logs. The humans cheered from both sides of the bridge, clapping their hands excitedly. "Keep going. You're doing great," Mia encouraged as she clapped louder. Zara paused for a moment in the middle of the bridge, a natural instinct urging her to assess her surroundings once again. She glanced back at the river's tumultuous flow behind her and then forward toward Jenna and Liam standing eagerly on solid ground. "You've made it this far," Jenna shouted joyfully, waving her arms in encouragement. "Just a little more." Zara took another deep breath and pressed forward, determined not to let fear hold her back any longer. Each step felt like a small victory against the stormy weather around them. With one final push, she reached solid ground on Jenna and Liam's side. Cheers erupted among the adventurers as they celebrated Zara's successful crossing. Relief washed over them like sunlight, breaking through dark clouds after a storm. They rushed toward Zara, who stood tall and proud, her fierce spirit shining even brighter now that she was safely across. The bond between them had deepened immeasurably. They had faced an overwhelming challenge together and emerged victorious. Zara looked at each one of them with gratitude reflected in her amber eyes, a silent understanding passing between predator and protector. As the rain continued to taper off into a gentle drizzle above them, laughter broke out among friends celebrating what felt like an impossible feat achieved through teamwork and determination, fueled by compassion. "What do we do now?" Liam asked with relief evident in his voice as he gazed at Zara beside him. "Now," Jenna replied with excitement bubbling inside her chest. "Now we see where this adventure takes us next." Zara stood nearby, observing these remarkable beings who had dared to help her in her time of need. She felt grateful for their bravery, and perhaps it was time for her to venture forth alongside them toward new horizons together. Together, they turned away from the riverbank that had tested them so profoundly, stepping onward into unknown lands filled with endless possibilities waiting patiently ahead, where journeys would intertwine forevermore. As the rain continued to taper off, leaving behind a glistening sheen on the ground, the group of adventurers knew it was time to put their plan into action. They gathered around the area where they had collected materials, excitement mingling with nervous energy as they prepared to build the bridge that would help Zara cross the flooded river. "Let's make sure we have everything we need," Ethan said as he surveyed their supplies. "We need strong logs and sturdy branches to ensure she can safely get across." "I saw some thick logs a little further down the bank," Mia exclaimed, pointing toward the direction she had scouted earlier. "Let's go grab them before the water rises more." The group split up once again, racing against time as they hurried to gather additional materials. Each adventurer was driven by a shared sense of purpose, their hearts beating in sync with determination. As they moved quickly, Ethan called out reminders about safety, urging everyone to stay aware of their surroundings while navigating the muddy terrain. Jenna and Liam worked together to lift a particularly heavy log that had fallen from a nearby tree. "On three," Jenna shouted. "1, 2, 3. Together, they hoisted it up and struggled to carry it back toward where Mia stood waiting. "That's perfect," Mia cheered as she helped them place it on top of the other materials they had already gathered. The pile was growing, and with each piece added, hope surged through them all. Meanwhile, Zara watched from her position at the riverbank, her keen eyes observing every movement made by these curious strangers. She felt an unfamiliar connection forming between herself and these humans, an alliance built out of compassion and mutual respect. The thought of crossing seemed less daunting knowing they were working tirelessly for her safety. As more logs were collected and laid out to form a base for the bridge, Ethan took charge of directing where everything should go. "We need to create a stable foundation first," he instructed. "Let's lay these larger logs horizontally across the river. Then we can use smaller branches to fill in the gaps." Mia nodded enthusiastically and began weaving vines around the logs to secure them in place. "These should hold well enough," she said confidently while tying knots with care. With each passing minute, their makeshift bridge began to take shape, an engineering marvel born from teamwork and determination set against nature's fury. They worked seamlessly together, laughing and encouraging one another as they tackled challenges that arose during construction. "Careful now," Jenna warned Liam as he teetered slightly on an unsteady log while trying to reach for another branch. "You don't want to end up in that water." With a laugh, Liam regained his balance and continued his work. "I'm not going anywhere. I've got this," he replied playfully, while keeping a close eye on Zara from time to time. As they continued building, Zara felt something shift within her, a mix of trust and hope blossoming slowly alongside her instinctual wariness of humans. The strange beings were working hard not just for themselves, but also for her. Perhaps it was time she let go of her fears. After what felt like hours, though only a fraction of time had passed, the bridge was finally taking form. It stretched across part of the turbulent river with enough strength to support Zara if she chose to cross. "Now we just need to secure the edges better so she feels safe stepping onto it," Ethan suggested as he reviewed their creation with pride swelling in his chest. "Let's add some more branches along both sides." They rushed back into action, tying down any loose ends while ensuring stability remained intact throughout every inch of their bridge, before finally standing back once more to admire their handiwork. "That looks incredible," Mia exclaimed breathlessly as she took in what they had built together. A beacon of hope amidst chaos, navigating wild waters swirling beneath shadows, cast overhead dancing merrily above tumultuous currents, flowing fiercely onward. As they caught their breath from all the hard work involved in constructing this life-saving passageway, anticipation hung thickly in the air. The moment when Zara would decide whether or not she would trust them enough for this leap-bridging predator and protector alike. "Okay, let's prepare ourselves," Jenna said excitedly yet nervously as everyone gathered at one end of the bridge, readying themselves for what lay ahead. "We're here for you." Ethan encouraged Zara loudly across roaring waves, beckoning forth confidence, breaking through uncertainty built steadily over time, reminding both species present that friendship transcends boundaries defined by nature alone. With renewed determination, glowing brightly against darkened skies, still looming heavy overhead, but slowly beginning yielding towards light. Together, they waited patiently poised upon precipices, awaiting destiny, knocking boldly upon wonders yet unseen. Their hearts racing full throttle, hoping against hope that soon enough courage would lead them onward, into limitless adventures awaiting those brave enough venture forth together, as the group of adventurers prepared themselves at either end of the makeshift bridge. A collective sense of anticipation hung thick in the air. The moment they had all been working toward was finally here, and it was now time to see if Zara would trust them enough to take that first step across the raging waters. Zara stood at the water's edge, her fierce amber eyes scanning the bridge they had constructed. Doubt crept into her mind as she assessed the turbulent river swirling nearby. The sound of rushing water echoed like thunder, and for a moment she hesitated. Could this bridge truly hold her weight? Would these strangers really keep her safe? Mia clapped her hands again, breaking the tension that enveloped them. "Zara, you can do it. We're here for you." Her voice rang out clear and filled with encouragement amidst the surrounding chaos. Ethan stepped forward at his end of the bridge, maintaining steady eye contact with Zara. "It's okay. We believe in you," he called out firmly, hoping his unwavering faith would reach her. As Zara listened to their calls, something inside her began to shift. The humans had worked tirelessly on her behalf. Perhaps it was time for her to let go of fear and take a chance on this unexpected friendship. She took a deep breath, feeling the rain cool on her back while glancing back at her pride that seemed so far away. The urge to survive overpowered her instinctual wariness. With resolve settling within her, Zara ultimately decided she would trust these brave beings who believed in her potential freedom from danger. She took a tentative step forward onto the bridge. "Here we go," Jenna exclaimed nervously but excitedly as she watched Zara begin to cross. "Just one step at a time." As Zara placed her paw on the first log, it creaked slightly beneath her weight, causing those watching to hold their breaths in unison. But then, feeling reassured by their cheers and encouragement ringing out around her, she continued onward, placing one paw after another with growing confidence. "Keep going. You're doing great," Mia shouted enthusiastically as she waved her arms in encouragement. Zara reached the middle of the bridge and paused for a moment. She felt both exhilarated and terrified by what lay before her. The rushing water below still thrashed violently against rocks and logs like an angry beast. But now, there were friendly faces waiting ahead. Faces glowing with kindness, urging her forth. "Look at how far you've come," Liam encouraged from the other end of the bridge, his excitement bubbling over as he sensed victory nearing closer than ever before. With renewed determination surging through every inch of herself. Not just instinct, but genuine belief resonating within. Zara pressed on. Each cautious step across felt monumental, as if conquering fears built over time, lost among daunting depths flowing fiercely nearby. Finally, she approached solid ground, where Jenna and Liam stood ready to receive their courageous friend. A cheer erupted among all 5 adventurers as they saw Zara nearing safety. Their dreams of rescuing this magnificent creature materializing right before them, with one final leap off the end of the bridge onto firm earth. The Lioness landed gracefully with an air of confidence that radiated through each gathered soul, witnessing this triumphant moment unfold. Zara raised her head proudly as they called out jovial shouts celebrating what seemed impossible before. The bond between predator and protector, having forged something deeply powerful alongside shared experiences emerging together. Resilient amid trials faced courageously, united perpetually. Tears welled up in Mia's eyes as joy surged through everyone present. Exhilaration coursed like electricity, sparking hope, blossoming beautifully against darkened skies. "You did it!" Ethan exclaimed heartily, while rushing forward to join Zara, at last standing free upon dry land, surrounded by friends who believed wholeheartedly achieved togetherness previously unthinkable, despite barriers once thought insurmountable. Zara turned slowly to face each adventurer who had dared defy odds, building trust along carefully crossed paths, stretching further beyond, past reflections, leading futures unwritten, yet promising boundless adventures awaited just steps away. Leading onward, unfurling dreams, once contained thoroughly captured, embracing new horizons, full expecting wonder yet unseen. A journey beginning anew, rippling eternally while hearts race together, embracing shared destinies, unfolding beautifully intertwined, illuminating glimmers, shining brightly, breaking away shadows, lurking behind amidst wild terrains, awaiting discoveries evermore shared. Zara stood at the edge of the makeshift bridge, her heart pounding in her chest as she surveyed the churning waters beneath. The river had calmed somewhat since she first approached, but its power was still intimidating. With her newfound friends cheering her on from either end of the bridge, she felt a swell of determination rise within her. "Remember, one step at a time," Mia shouted encouragingly, her voice cutting through the sounds of nature. Zara nodded slightly, absorbing the warmth of their support as she took a cautious step forward. The logs creaked under her weight, but as she placed her second paw down, she found that it held firm. Encouraged by this success, Zara continued moving forward, her movements deliberate and careful. Each step felt monumental, bridging the gap between fear and trust. "Keep going. You're doing great," Ethan called from the far side of the bridge. His presence reassured Zara, reminding her that not only was she crossing a river, but also stepping into an unexpected alliance with these remarkable humans who had stepped into her life without hesitation. With every forward movement, Zara's confidence grew. She glanced back briefly to see Mia and Jenna beaming with pride as they watched closely, while Liam waved enthusiastically from his position at the other end. It was as if their encouragement became part of her strength. Suddenly, a loud clap of thunder echoed in the distance, a reminder that the storm hadn't fully passed yet. But this did little to deter Zara's resolve. With each paw placed carefully upon the makeshift bridge, visions of what lay ahead filled her thoughts. Fields of grass where she could roam freely alongside those who had shown her kindness. Zara reached the middle of the bridge and paused for just a moment to take it all in. She could feel both exhilaration and trepidation swirling inside her at the same time. This was an act of bravery unlike anything she had done before, not just for herself, but for the bond being formed with these friends who refused to leave her behind. Taking another deep breath to steady herself, Zara pressed onward until she felt solid ground beneath her paws again. The cheers from Mia and Jenna carried sweet melodies, almost drowning out rushing waters previously. So loud mere moments during intense moments unfolded across wild landscapes, now welcomed friendship blossoming brightly entwined within newfound hopes. As Zara leaped off the last log onto solid land, victory erupted among them. The group rushed to meet their brave Lioness friend, gathering around her in jubilant celebration. "You did it," Mia exclaimed, with tears glistening joyfully in her eyes, as relief washed over them like sunlight piercing through lingering clouds overhead. Zara raised her head high, feeling a surge of pride radiate through every part of herself. Across barriers once perceived insurmountable lay connections twining closely. It felt profound, witnessing bonds forged together, illuminated brilliantly, despite differences showcased inherently vibrant. Showcasing life itself, revealing strength, continually nurturing growth, emerging inevitably unbound, spiraled forth amid challenges faced triumphantly. "You really trusted us," Jenna said softly, as she reached out to gently touch Zara's fur. The warmth exchanged spoke volumes. They were no longer strangers. This moment illustrated how comradeship could bloom, even amidst adversity, illuminating entire journeys, traveled converging unforgettable destinies, reflecting timeless truths, echoing throughout lives, forever changed, intrinsically, becoming tied together, forging paths graced towards discovery, inviting existence, overflowing marvelous wonders, yet unknown, blossoming spectacularly, unfolding between vibrant realms, previously unimagined whispered songs, seeking harmony, existing harmoniously, moving forward, unlocking doors long dreamed. A journey just beginning, streaming ahead full-blown brilliantly, beneath majestic skies painted colors anew. Zara basked in their fellowship as they moved onward together, away from tumultuous waters that had tested all courage displayed along arduous trails, leading tight-knit friendships, flourishing, blooming ever more openly, despite uncertainty claiming victory against fears residing. Looking upward brightly, ushering forth exhilarating adventures awaited those brave enough stride confidently. henceforth callings beckoning merrily, unwavering, steadfast hearts, thundering, resolute, endlessly pursuing inspiring quests, awaiting delight, weaving towards greatness together, conquering landscapes, embracing forthcoming stories, interwoven hugs, rejoicing with laughter, shared pooling, memories forever cherished, eternally dancing, united amid rhythmic threads, woven deeply, intertwined, experiencing symphonies, resonating, echoing far-reaching horizons, boundless, illuminated, gently guiding, everything sparkling radiantly ahead. The air was thick with joy and relief as Zara stood firmly on solid ground, surrounded by the 5 adventurers who had worked so hard to bring her to safety. The sun broke through the last of the storm clouds, casting a warm golden light over the savannah, illuminating their faces filled with pride and admiration for one another. "You did it, Zara," Mia exclaimed, her voice bubbling with excitement. "You crossed the river." Zara looked at each of them in turn, her fierce amber eyes sparkling with gratitude. She felt a deep connection to these humans who had shown her such kindness and bravery. This experience had transformed her from a solitary lioness into part of a team, an unexpected family forged by courage and compassion. "Let's celebrate," Liam suggested, clapping his hands together enthusiastically. "We've accomplished something amazing today." The group erupted into cheers, their laughter ringing out against the backdrop of nature. They began dancing around Zara in circles, embodying pure happiness as they celebrated this incredible moment together. Ethan stepped forward and gently brushed his fingers along Zara's fur. "You were so brave," he said softly, admiration evident in his voice. "I knew you could do it." Zara let out a low rumble, a sound of contentment as she basked in their warmth and acceptance. The bond between predator and protector had solidified in that instant, highlighting how deeply they cared for one another, despite their differences. After the initial excitement began to settle down, Jenna proposed an idea that sparked even more enthusiasm among the group. "Why don't we explore the area nearby? There are so many wonders waiting for us just beyond the river." With renewed energy coursing through them all, they began walking together through the open savannah, eager to discover what lay ahead. The landscape stretched wide before them, vast fields of green grasses swaying gently in the breeze, dotted with wildflowers bursting into color under the sun's warm embrace. As they wandered further away from the riverbank that had once symbolized fear and uncertainty for Zara, she felt liberated. An exhilarating sense of adventure ignited within her spirit. Each step taken felt like a leap toward newfound freedom alongside these extraordinary humans who believed in her potential. They soon stumbled upon a small grove surrounded by tall trees, offering shade from the sun overhead. A perfect spot to rest and share stories. As they settled down on patches of soft grass beneath leafy canopies swaying gently above them, laughter echoed amid conversations flowing freely. "I can't believe we actually built that bridge," Mia said incredulously while reclining back against a large rock nearby. "It felt impossible at first." "Yeah, and you crossed it like a champion," Liam chimed in with an approving nod toward Zara. "You showed incredible bravery." Zara felt warmth spread throughout her heart at their praise. She never imagined she would be celebrated in such a way by those she considered friends now. Their support lit up every sense within her as they shared tales about their lives, each person revealing snippets of background that made them unique yet interconnected at this moment. Jenna shared stories from her travels across various landscapes. The vibrant cultures encountered along each journey, colored vividly within each word, spoken while narrating brave explorations, undertaken fearlessly forever, changing perceptions along paths previously thought impenetrable. As dusk approached, slowly filling sky with stunning hues glowing brilliantly above, They began to realize how much time had passed since embarking upon this extraordinary journey together. With every tale exchanged, came stronger bonds formed, reminding everyone present precisely why this encounter blossomed beautifully, transcending boundaries once drawn hastily. Feeling invigorated from fellowship, enjoyed amidst wild surroundings. The group prepared themselves, gradually rising, eager anticipation, growing palpable swelling within hearts, anticipating tomorrow's new adventures, awaiting eagerly ahead without limits, trailing brighter possibilities, limitless opening avenues previously unseen, beckoning forth, inviting everyone daring enough venture, confidently forth into jubilance, awaiting discovery. Splendid journeys unfold, eternally blessed ahead, transcendent, echoing through souls, interwoven harmoniously. Narrating powerful tales, awash alive, lifting spirits, full thriving destinies, weaving intricate stories, delicately embracing radiant futures yet unknown. Whispering enchantments, colliding beautifully woven threads, glimmering brightly, shimmering hopes, longing affirm, promising friendships, destined entwine evermore revealed, joyfully blossoming endlessly throughout curious terrains boldly charted together. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the savannah, the group of adventurers and Zara found themselves seated together on a grassy knoll overlooking the river they had crossed. They were still buzzing from the exhilaration of their successful rescue. But as the excitement faded, a deeper sense of reflection settled over them. Zara lay comfortably on her side, her amber eyes glimmering with appreciation as she looked at each member of the group. Moments like these felt monumental. She knew that crossing the river was not just about overcoming physical barriers. It had transformed her entire perspective on trust and companionship. Mia broke the silence first, her voice soft yet filled with emotion. I never imagined we'd be able to help a wild animal like that. It's incredible what we accomplished. Together. Ethan nodded in agreement. Absolutely. It shows how teamwork can make a difference, no matter how daunting the challenge may seem. He reflected on how each person had played a vital role in constructing the bridge and encouraging Zara onward. Jenna chimed in, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. It also made me realize that sometimes you have to take risks to form connections with others, even when you're scared. She glanced at Zara, who met her gaze with an understanding expression. You showed us that trust is powerful. Liam leaned back against the grass and smiled. And that no matter our differences, human or lion, we can work together to achieve something great. His mind wandered back to that moment when they were all cheering Zara on as she stepped onto the bridge. It was a shared experience he would always cherish. Zara felt warmth fill her heart at their reflections. She was grateful for their bravery and support during an uncertain time in her life. They had seen beyond mere appearances, recognizing her spirit and determination as deserving of compassion and care. Roaming this savannah just feels different now, Mia continued thoughtfully. I mean, look at us. We're no longer strangers, we're friends. Family? Jenna added earnestly, reaching out gently to brush her fingers against Zara's fur, a gesture of connection that deepened their bond further. Zara let out a soft rumble of appreciation, a sound echoing gratitude for this newfound familial connection formed through mutual challenges faced together. This journey had ignited within her a fierce desire for adventure. But more significantly, it had nurtured new friendships she felt destined to treasure. As they spoke of dreams for future explorations, vivid landscapes waiting patiently beyond visible horizons, glowing invitingly. The excitement grew once more among them like embers rekindling into lively flames. Each tale told drew laughter, bubbling forth freely from everyone. They discussed places they yearned to visit together, Vast deserts under starry skies or lush forests filled with enchanting sounds coursing through life surrounding them, creating magical experiences forever etched within their hearts. "What if we seek out other animals in need?" Liam suggested while grinning widely. "We could become a rescuer team." Mia clapped her hands excitedly at the idea. "What an amazing adventure that would be. Each encounter will bring us closer too." Zara flicked her tail approvingly at their enthusiasm. It stirred something deep inside her spirit. The longing for exploration merged beautifully with the desire to foster connection. Perhaps rescuing others along pathways traveled could bring forth countless moments, filled joy, woven endlessly around themes, uniting creatures diverse across landscapes traversed together. As twilight descended upon them, enveloping everything in calming hues, embracing gentle whispers awaiting nightfall. A sense of peace washed over them all. Bonds formed amid adversity, blossomed vibrantly amid stories shared, stretching endlessly toward possibilities, waiting resolutely ahead. Promising joyous discoveries awaited. Futures intertwined, interwoven brightly amidst friendships, destined flourishing toward greatness, drawn forth boundless beauty. Crafted left behind, along trails marked throughout newly uncovered territories, conquered side by side, journeying forward triumphantly. With hearts glowing softly beneath twinkling stars, emerging unfurling above all around, embraced wondrous sights, beckoning gracefully onward. Their laughter danced amid landscapes, throbbed playfully entwined, signaling beginnings, spotlighted accomplishing dreams, vivid notions, experience blooming spontaneously enriching lives, shaped profoundly from precious moments, timeless gathered meticulously without fear, illuminating paths awaiting those daring venture forth, eternally connected adventures spun gloriously, thriving endlessly, seeking harmony, blissfully etched journeys, flowing harmoniously, reminding everyone partake aspiring spirits, traveling towards camaraderie, reflecting elegantly into magnificent destinies awaiting fulfillment. Inspiring leaps, faith, allow magical transformations unfold. Breathtakingly, extraordinary lives, shared brilliantly, intertwined, symbiotic thriving, harmoniously beckoning radiant futures.